We do have a new AP top 25 out there that I wanted to get your reaction to because there are some interesting movers and shakers. By and large, what we see at the top is relatively static. We've got Ohio State still at 1, Penn State still at 2, LSU still all the way up at 3. But your Oregon Ducks, by virtue of their big victory, 69-3 over Oklahoma State, they moved up 2 spots. They jumped Miami, who is now at number 5. Georgia dropped a little bit. They are now down to 6. Texas at 7, Notre Dame at 8, Illinois at 9, Florida State jumps 4, all the way up to number 10. Some of the other big movers in this poll, Oklahoma, as you might expect, they go up 5 spots, all the way up to number 13. Tennessee, in advance of their big game against Georgia, up 7 spots to number 15. We've also got Utah, people starting to take notice of the Utes, up 5. Now they're into the top 20. Michigan still in the top 25. They drop 8. They were the, I guess, biggest delta, if you want to call it that.
Good job.
Looking at this poll. But I'm curious to get your reaction based on this top 10, on this top 20. We're starting to see some situations where teams are making themselves known, and the voters seem to be responding.
Hey, real quick, it'd be great if you could consider subscribing to the YouTube channel down below. It really helps us out. Look, I can't say that like this is how every person should vote, but when I see polls early on in the season, I love a preseason poll. I love getting a sense, a snapshot of where people think teams are. Hear me out.
Okay, but I'll give you the floor. We also have our own Verballer poll, which I can read the results of shortly, but continue.
But I think if we are going to do something as dramatic as ranking teams based on no data, then once we have data, things should shift dramatically, right? Like, I think right now, USF should be a top 10 team. Like, what more can a team do but schedule violently impressively, right?
Yeah.
USF did that. They're playing Boise State. They're playing in-state Florida, and they have, in-state Miami coming up?
Yeah,
like, USF has that Pat Hill mentality. Any team, anywhere, anytime, whatever. So I love that for USF. They should be ranked higher than where they are. Like, I think there should be a collective admission of voters that, USF wasn't ranked, and now they are looking like one of the strongest teams in the sport based on the data we have. Okay? That if we're going to say Boise is a ranked-ish team, and we're going to say that Florida is a ranked team, then we have to be impressed by a team beating both of those teams, more so than they've earned thus far, or they seem to have earned thus far. I would also, I would have Penn State somewhere in the region, but who they've played does not tell me that they're one of the best teams in the country thus far. And once they beat Oregon at home or something, vault them up high, right? I want to be impressed by teams based on who they play and how they've played. So I'm okay with what LSU did on the road, having them this high. I'm okay with what Miami did to Notre Dame with having them this high. Having Notre Dame in the top 10 when they are 0-1 and have done nothing but lose a winnable game on the road to a quality team, Notre Dame should not be this high. Eventually they should be, but I want flexibility. I want this to be a limber poll, which not a pun intended there.
Phrasing.
But yeah, when I see when I see Tennessee laid the lumber against Syracuse, that's awesome. They should be a little bit higher. What they did is more impressive to me than what Texas has done this season.
Yeah, what has Texas done this season? It hasn't looked all that impressive, to be honest with you. But I'm with you. I am with you. I would also add Missouri into that conversation. Mizzou is now into the top 25. They are at number 25, but Mizzou's looked really good.
Yeah.
Through 2 games, I think Mizzou has looked really impressive.
Michigan shouldn't be ranked. I want to treat Michigan every year. It's its own thing. And Michigan this year has not accomplished anything to say oh yeah, they should be ranked because they looked okay for a stretch against Oklahoma. No. Get out of the poll, and when you do something to earn a spot there, get there. At limber poll, that's what I'm looking for, Ty.
Limber poll.
Yeah.
I would also add, just in looking at the others receiving votes category, Georgia Tech, others receiving votes.
Okay.
We've got Nebraska, others receiving votes. We've got my Pitt Panthers, got 3 votes or 3 points. Vandy with only one.
I think Vandy should have more. I think Vandy has earned a more concrete place in Week 3's top 25 poll than Michigan.
I think that's totally fair.
I think what Mississippi State has done. If we're going to agree in the preseason poll that Arizona State is of quality heading into the season, and then Mississippi State, with zero expectations, takes them down and completely shuts down Sam Leavitt in the ASU passing game, we should be rewarding Mississippi State with a heaping amount of attention and spotlight based on that. And if they lose something dumb, goodbye. But they've earned attention.
I don't think you can say what you're saying right now and still be in favor of preseason polls. Because what happens, and the reason that you don't see more movement is people who vote in these things, and I'm going to exclude our wonderful verballers because I have the results of their poll.
Well, they're better looking and wiser than most. Continue.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But when people go to vote in that AP poll, in many cases, they're basing their current week's vote on where a team was in the previous version of the poll.
Yeah.
There's a hesitance, in my opinion, to drop a team too low or bump them up too high because of where they were previously, especially in the early part of the season where, as you said, we have no information on any of these teams. But because a team is ranked 4th, let's say, just as an example, we can't drop them too low. They're still probably pretty good. We just haven't seen it. That prevents the floor from falling out. So I'm with you.
But
I would
why?
like to see more. Go ahead.
My question is why? Like, why not drop the 4th best team in your eyes once they lose something embarrassing to 19, to 22? Like, it's the Week 3 poll. It doesn't have any bearing on anything, but you can say what you've done did not impress me to the point where you're nearly falling out of the poll. And if you are able to earn back my respect and adoration, then you'll get up to number 11, then you'll get up to number 7, then you'll get up to number 12, whatever. Like, I think this should be a much more fluid situation early on. And then as we start to accumulate data, you can say, yeah, you were my number 5 team. The loss wasn't great, but based on what I've seen, you're like 9. You're like 12.
Well, so now with that in mind, okay?
Yeah.
Bear in mind that our Verballer top 12 poll, it's not a full top 25, though I could do that, but we focus on the top 12 here, the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
Our Verballer top 12 poll is voted on by hundreds of Verballers in the span of a week. Over the course of a year, it's well into the tens of thousands of people that vote in this thing.
Yeah.
I think this is much more calibrated for where we're at now entering Week 3. We've got Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, ahead of Penn State, which is 3, which I agree with, by the way, with how good Oregon has looked. LSU at 4, Miami at 5, so more of the same teams.
Sure.
Georgia at 6, Florida State up at 7, Texas down at 8, Oklahoma up to 9, Illinois at 10, Iowa State at 11, and then Notre Dame barely sneaking in at number 12.
Right.
The first 5 out per this poll: Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Utah. In some cases, though not all of the teams that I've listed there in the first 5 out are ranked a little higher than where they might be in the AP poll. That's certainly the case for Alabama. I think that's the case for Tennessee. Definitely the case for Utah. South Carolina and Clemson both a little bit higher in their respective polls. But nonetheless, I think we did a good job, just as Verballerhood, putting these teams in order that makes a little bit more sense. Now, we can make some of the same points about this as we did the AP poll, but I agree with putting Oklahoma up at 9 with the way that they looked against Michigan. Yep. I think they looked awesome. I certainly agree with putting Oregon where they're at number 2. Go back and listen to what I said about Penn State. I don't think Penn State's looked that good. Doesn't mean they won't be good.
Yeah.
By the time they play Oregon, Ohio State, whoever on the schedule. But thus far, through 2 games, not really getting the vapors. Florida State absolutely deserves to be a top 10 team.
Sure.
Based on what we've seen so far. I mean, they have looked damn impressive in this new version of themselves, and they're going to have an opportunity to be tested here before long. But I think our Verballers did a really, really good job putting this together, and I commend them. Again, you can vote every week at verballers.com. You sign up for the certified, the premium tier out there. You support what we do. You also get a vote in the poll, which drops very early every Sunday morning.
I would have Iowa State higher in the Verballer poll. This is just based on my Limber poll needs and wants. Yeah. I would have Oregon maybe a little bit lower. They've looked incredible against Montana State and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was one of the worst Power 4 teams in the nation last year. And so maybe they're bouncing back this year, but they already have a hurt quarterback. So it's probably not looking good. I'd have maybe Miami a little bit higher, probably higher than LSU, after LSU did not look thrilling against Louisiana Tech last week. So yeah, I would move things around a little bit. Illinois seems like they're in a good place there. I might have them a little bit higher. I might have Oklahoma a little higher. I might have Texas a little bit lower. But otherwise, that's just my own belief system at work here. That's all.
Write in solidverbal@gmail.com. Leave us a comment wherever you're listening or watching. If you've got something to add, your own reaction to share with us with the Verballerhood. And again, if you're interested in casting your own ballot in the most accurate college football running poll, a very limber poll at that, throughout the course of this college football season in the year of our Lord 2025, check us out at verballers.com. Sign up for the certified or the premium tier.
Are there any teams not anywhere near the top 12, top 10 that you're just like, these teams have been taking care of business and they have piqued my interest as a potential team to spring up into this conversation? I have two.
Go ahead.
Because we already mentioned Mizzou. I think Mizzou is one of those teams.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say Utah and USC. I'm not fully sold on those being complete programs, but they've taken care of business in an emphatic way that I'm like, all right, I'm now more curious about what you look like as a top 10 to 15 team.
I think USC's looked really good so far.
There's still deficiencies there for USC. I think I want to see what their secondary looks like as we head into October, something like that, when they get to, pretty decent quarterbacks. But it's going to be a minute before we see that.
It's going to be a minute, and there's going to be a little bit of runway for them to work out some of the kinks. So based on the early season, so far just through 2 games, USC in the others receiving votes category, definitely room to grow, 100%.
Okay.